Welcome, my Chinese readers. Here I come to conquer your country with my books.
我是史诗图书的负责人和《冰与火之歌》的译者屈畅，今天呢来到了这个波兰大使馆内部，接受了这个波兰大使馆文化处的这个邀请，来到这里呢采访我们《猎魔人》系列的作者安杰伊·萨帕科沃斯基老先生。根据我看到的这个资料的话，您是以前是做贸易的，然后好像是做翻译这一类，应该去过不少的国家。
Yeah, absolutely, but you know, my career as a translator was limited to one story, one only, which was published in the Nowa Fantastica, the Polish leading SF magazine. Well, as far as my career as a businessman and traveling salesman and marketing man, it was 30 years of my life. So it took some time, and I have quite a big experience in economics and selling and buying and export and import and even Rapaport sometimes. So, and of course traveling around the world because I was selling or buying merchandise from abroad mostly. So it is true that I visited many countries there. During this time, but it ended. It just ended. It was and it wasn't anymore. Since more than 30 years.
我就是有一点好奇，我就不知道您为什么最初会选择这个奇幻这么一种文学的载体，而不是其他的一种载体。您说您在重庆曾经回答过，您说那个您愿意用10倍的时间去打磨这个作品。那么你为什么会愿意用这种载体，这种猎魔人这个故事，您这样去打磨呢
？So why fantasy? Well, I liked it. I liked Tolkien. I liked Ursula Le Guin. I liked Roger Zelazny. I liked Jack Vance. All the books. I like David Eddings. The books I've read impressed me very much. And the moment, the breaking point was the competition announced by the Polish leading magazine, science fiction magazine, Fantastica. Till this day, I really cannot say why I wrote this story for this competition. It was just an impulse, just to do something like this. And the impact of this story, it was The Witcher, my first story I ever conceived, was tremendous, was huge. So it showed me the way that really that something what I've done just for a competition, just to win it, just to take the prize and go away, say goodbye, here I'm going. It was something more. And it started really to taking me into this mechanism. I was still working as a foreign trade representative, a businessman, but once a year I wrote a story, a short story, and sent it to the Fantastica. I was already famous after Witcher, so they always published my story, always. So every 1 year, one story, 1 year, one story. It was after that I decided to do something more. Because nobody was so eager in Poland then to publish big things by Polish authors. They say, okay, short story in Fantastica. It was another magazine called Phoenix. And a story in Phoenix, please. But the big things, we want Americans. You Poles are not sellable. You will not sell. We are businessmen. Yeah. If somebody does not guarantee a profit, thank you. And I decided to breach this forbidden city. And I succeeded.
Yeah. 那么您的猎魔人，或者说是波兰，是不是也有这么一批这个作家，像您一样的，他也是受到这个托尔金的这个影响？
Well, as far as I am concerned, certainly. Certainly, Tolkien was a great inspiration for me. Tolkien set them some kind of milestone of fantasy. So every fantasy writer, aspiring or already popular, must notice this milestone. But I suppose, not counting a few accidents, I was the first who introduced fantasy into Polish science fiction and fantasy business, because fantasy was despised in Poland. It was considered something stupid, something for escapists. Science fiction, they said, it was wise, was very clever, and showed the way into the future. So maybe like Jules Verne, for example, invented submarines, invented flying machines, and all of this 80 years around the world. Of course, it is not true. So maybe it will sound not especially humble, but I suppose that right now Polish fantasy writers are not inspired by Tolkien. They are inspired by me. But still, it is of no importance. I will say that it's not like this, that if you are a writer and or if you aspire to be a one, so it will not help you to know your history or mythology or demonology or the fairy tales. You must be erudite. So you must be as quick in Bible as in Shakespeare, as in Homer, as in Raymond Chandler, as in Agatha Christie, and in Karl May, and you name it. Yeah. If you don't have this big resource, you have nothing.
那么但是呢，我注意到老爷子写的东西呢，跟托尔金其实有一个非常大的不同。因为那个托尔金的这种奇幻，虽然他定下了一个范式呢，但是他实际上是比较像那个童话故事的，就是他的那个善恶对立啊，这些是一个非常明显的一个东西。但是呢，在老爷子写的这些东西里面呢，他更多的写的是灰色的这个人物啊，更多的是运用了更多的黑色幽默，那么进行了一种这样的改造，而且他的这个作品呢，相对于托尔金的那种作品呢，显得更现实，就是具有非常强烈的现实主义。那么其实我一直很想知道，这样的一种改造呢，它是一种有意的一种改造呢，就是特别想这样去做呢，还是一种老爷子本身写作就是这个风格，只是自然而然的带入的。
First of all, you must differ inspiration from trying to do something which is similar and or the same. It is not the same. I said about inspiration because Tolkien showed me the way. That's for sure. Not only him, because as I told you, Ursula Le Guin, especially Roger Zelazny with Amber series, and a lot of other writers also. So I reading all these fantasy books because I named the big, great names in the genre. I didn't mention the small names, which I read few pages. I said, another journey to throw a ring into a volcano. Thank you. I'm not reading it anymore. Yes, it's like this. And when I was bold enough to present my working, what I consider mine to the reader, so my target, my aim, well, everything that I wanted to achieve is to be different. That nobody will mistake me. So nobody will take my book and say, another monster killer. Oh, how many monster killers we have seen? Okay, it is a monster killer, but he's different. To some extent, he's different. And it was my path to make it right, to make it interesting for the reader. And first of all for the publisher, but then for the reader. Because the publisher is just a businessman. He's just making books, selling them, and then saying, wow, not selling at all. Why? So, why? Because the book was bad. Simply as that. But remember John Rowling, when everybody said, youngsters do not read books. They play games, they smoke marijuana, but they do not read books. And look what happened. J.K. Rowling arrives, and the youngster staying a few kilometers long at midnight to buy another Harry Potter. So you can do everything if you do it right. If you do it right.
对，
And I try to do it right.
我就不知道在老爷子写这个猎魔人，尤其是在写这个后面这个 SAG 这个大的这个长篇的时候呢，是有意的，就是要参照一下历史呢，还是说跟托尔金一样，我跟这些其实没有关系？
No, absolutely not. And it is right that Tolkien denied any resemblance between his creation, his Middle Earth, and his creating the evil empire in the East, expression that Reagan used, sometimes speaking about Soviet Union. Tolkien denied it very expressly and said Isengard is not Berlin and Sauron is not Hitler, but nobody listened to him. And nobody listens to me when I say I invent a plot. I invent an interesting plot, and war and conflict between the forces of chaos and order, forces of good and evil. It does not mean that it is the Hitler and Stalin or the Poland between. It has nothing to do. I invent the plot. Of course, I am, let's say, a product of some culture, of some education, of some being in the middle of the things. So I'm, of course, influenced, and I find sometimes things that help me to create a plot in real history. Or I try to make the reader that he will think a little bit. Not only reading, they're killing each other, nothing, and the monster has such long teeth. That's no importance. Let him think a little bit. And then maybe I use things that I know that are like, you know, the nerve in the tooth. When I created the bad kingdom, the evil emperor sitting somewhere in the south and attacking the north countries, I didn't think about Arabs or Chinese. It is just a plot.
对，我刚刚得到的消息是，猎魔人似乎又要新拍一个电影，当然我不了解这个详情。我想知道这个老爷子是否知道这个相关的这个情况。
Well, it was like this, that Mr. Tomasz Bagiński, which is a famous Polish animator, he was nominated to the Oscar. For his for his animation called The Cathedral, and he is my fan. He stated it, and approached me with a proposal to make a movie in Hollywood, so a big major motion picture. I was reluctant to go into this business. I was really reluctant. I doubted very much if it is possible. But of course they convinced me with the money, yes, like always. I say, okay, why not? Okay, why not? I will be not doing anything at all at the movie, so for me it's like, let's say, it is or it isn't not. Baginski is quite, let's say, drilling the Hollywood. He is speaking with producers, already found a scriptwriter, dealing actively with the matter, very, very active. But, you know, I'm an old guy. So I know how many good, very good literary works lie in Hollywood untouched. Yeah. Many of them. For example, Terry Brooks, Shannara series. Yeah. The rights sold. Nothing happens. And it is only one example, I cannot remember more at the moment. Hollywood buys the rights. Yeah. And either do something or not, but has the rights. Nobody can possibly buy these rights. Nobody. And they could have these rights and keep them for hundreds of years.
Yeah. 我也不知道这个老爷子呢，在你的心目当中就是一个小说，他如果要转换为另外一个载体，不管是游戏也好，电影也好，或者说话剧也好，或者说什么也好。它是否是存在一种就是不可逆性？就是说，在现在这个商业社会里面呢，它是不是说就是没有办法很好的转换为另一种东西，而保留它的精髓？而它是不是老爷子对这种整个都抱持着一种严重的这个怀疑的这个态度？
Well, it is always like this, that the medium helps the other medium. So it's not, you know, take me myself. I've heard a lot of, many years, I knew that George R.R. Martin is winning awards for his the Song of Ice and Fire. But I started reading the books after seeing the movie, the TV series, the first part. I've seen the first part with Sean Bean, and I said, well, it's worth reading. I suppose it's worth reading. And I momentarily went to the books. And I very quickly was ahead of the series in the books. So I ended with the Dances with Dragons. And now the series is again in the leading. Yeah? So in April, a new season starts in Poland, in April. So I'm waiting, all the time I'm waiting. So it is like this, so if not, so if I would be against the games, that I don't like the games, and I consider the game stupid, and I do not wish my big literary achievement to be turned into some games, I will simply say no when they approached me. And I said, yes, why not? So, but still, I will not be playing this game, absolutely, because I have no time for such games. I have better ways to spend my free time. Oh, but okay, sorry, please.
今天在这里呢，很荣幸的采访了这个 安杰伊萨普科沃夫斯基老先生跟他进行了这一场这个对我非常有启发的这个采访。那么老先生也给大家呢讲述了就是这个猎魔人这个故事背后的很多的这个精神的元素，相信对大家呢也非常有启发。那么在这里呢，我和积禾网呢是非常想呢再次邀请这个老先生呢来中国，以后呢能把他的作品呢更多的推广给大家，让大家呢能够更深入的了解老先生的这个作品。那么呢，在这里呢，我还要感谢波兰大使馆和波兰大使馆文化处给我们的协助，非常感谢大家。